Hello to the people.
Okay. Now, would you like to give a shout out?
Uh, sh- Actually, Kay, why don't you give a shout out first, if you don't mind?
Well, the people that I would like to give a shout out to is the Texas Longhorns, who on Saturday achieved their 900 win by defeating USC, and consequently, they won their 800th game against USC in 2006 in the Rose Bowl. So good job, guys.
Yay! But wait, Kay, they didn't beat USC in the Rose Bowl according to USC. That game
Well,
didn't happen.
Well, I think Reggie Bush was. I think his records were done away with, but I don't think the win was vacated, was it?
I'm not sure. I've always thought that USC was a little squirrely for that one, but I am going to concur with you and say congrats on the 900th win after the 800th win was for the championship. So, hook 'em horns. Um, so, I would like to give a quick shout out to the WNBA for putting on a very entertaining season this year, and the Seattle Storm for winning the championship, and subsequently politely telling the president they would not be visiting him at the White House. So, shout out to them, congrats, and thank you for turning down El Presidente. So, Kay, you have something you'd like to say?
Yes, I would like to do a quick read. I struggled with either doing this at the beginning or the end of the show, but I just think right now would be a good time. In the wake of the charging of the Dallas police officer with manslaughter, around the Metroplex, there has been continuous protesting. Many days in front of the Dallas Police Department, and as late as Sunday in front of the AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It saddens me to know that the police departments around in this area continue to band together in influencing their agenda. And they also, in the process, inflicting unnecessarily hardship on peaceful protesters. To not issue the 9 protesters a fine or ticket for blocking the traffic is low. But then also to arrest them and hold them excessively is maddening. For nearly 48 hours, these fine people were held and then released on a $100 bond. And as we recall, the officer who shot Botham Jean was processed and released in less than an hour. They were peaceful protesters and well within their constitutional rights. Why is everyone so afraid?
I don't know, Kay. That was a point of contention for me as well. I thought it was a very strange thing, especially considering, like you pointed out, they could have been issued a lower class misdemeanor for blocking traffic and just been issued a citation and gone on about their business. But it's very, very unfortunate that they actually had to spend time in jail. And for the insult of $100 bond, yeah, it was a bit much for me as well.
Okay. Um, so, you don't know why everyone is threatened with the protesting of peacefulness. It seems like if we were burning down the city and burning our own neighborhoods, there would probably be less resistance. Do you want to share any insight on that, Jamal?
Kay, I wish I had some insight on that. I think that it was a little bit of it was an overzealous reaction, I think, from the Arlington Police Department in this manner. These were 9 out of how many? Over 100 people who protest, and they blocked traffic, yes, but again, you cite them the same way that you would do something along the lines of a jaywalker. So you don't send them to jail. This was complete overreaction and badly handled. And I'm not sure whether or not the police departments, which usually seem to have a fairly decent reputation. This last month, not doing so well.
All right, before we go on, we want to say hello to Lillian, to Stephen, to Audra, to Christopher, to Rochelle, to Keith and Chris, to LaFauna. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. If you guys have any comments or questions, anything you want to add to the discussion, you can either come on live with us or you can just type it in, and we'll definitely get to the question.
Cool. So I'd like to talk a little football, if I may, around the various leagues. I would say something about baseball to you, just the little note that there are 12 games left in the regular season. Do you have any comment on this?
No.
Good. No Rangers, no comments, no Mets, no comments.
I mean, you don't have pitching, and you come into the season knowing you need pitching, and you still need pitching. So all I can say is we need pitching.
Yep. I have the same problem with my team as well. Pitching and, just better management. So we'll move along. And some interesting news that came from the NFL. Josh Gordon was late to practice on Saturday and subsequently was supposed to have been cut. The general manager of Cleveland issued a message about it Saturday afternoon, saying that he would be cut as of Monday due to a hamstring injury, and that was the last straw because of how the injury was obtained, supposedly. And then it turned into, oh wait, we're not going to cut him, we're gonna trade him, and instantly cutting his value, and at least the value of what you could get for him, in a Cleveland manner. So, with that being said, who missed out with Josh Gordon going to New England? And is Cleveland being Cleveland already this season?
I think that we ought to play a game of keep away with the Patriots. Like, stop giving them players, okay? They're well coached. It's a well-run organization. They have a very good quarterback, and they got this good philosophy about football going on there. So stop sending them extra pieces so that the Super Bowl has to be boring on one side of the ball, okay? So just stop it. So that's just what I think. I think it's a lot going on with Gordon. I think that the Patriots are probably better suited than a lot of teams to deal with that because they're not going to put up with a lot of that, missing practice, late for practice. I got this type of issue and I'm not going to make training camp because he didn't go to training camp. So it's just, how much can they take? No, it's not Cleveland being Cleveland. I believe Cleveland is on a good track to take all the good draft picks that they have over the last 4 years and finally become the team that is respectable. I'm not going to say they'll win out or anything, but they're on a new path. So I applaud them for releasing him.
I think it is the rich getting richer, and it's unfortunate for the rest of the NFL who did not take advantage of this. It is a high-risk maneuver because Josh Gordon has the possibility of having a relapse. And I can tell you the initial thoughts when the announcement of his pending release came, that everyone assumed it was relapse-related, and that instead it turned out to be something different. But that the one team in the NFL that can't afford to take a risk like this is New England, as they have plenty of other parts to make up for the Josh Gordon arrival. And this is something akin to when they picked up Randy Moss and went off running with Randy Moss for a bit. But as long as he keeps his nose clean, it's a great pickup. You know, there was a team that would do that sort of thing back in the day. I'm not sure what happened to them, but oh, you know what that team did? They went out and grabbed Brice Butler. So the Brice Butler was signed to the Cowboys this week after he was released back earlier this spring. and subsequently released from the Arizona Cardinals. And there was a report that Stephen Jones says the door could be open for a Dez return. Kay, what is going on out in Frisco?
Well, it's a lot of throwing stuff against the wall and see what sticks. The fact that you let a wide receiver go, regardless, you hadn't replaced this wide receiver with anything better, so you let him go, and you did not have a plan. So, in you not having a plan, you have 7 wide receivers, and you got 2 running backs. You let one go, and then you bring him back. You still have Terrence Williams on the team, which I don't understand. But that's neither here nor there. I don't think they know what they're doing, and I'll just be honest. And I think I'm very serious, and I think they're panicking. And it's getting late in the evening. I mean, I know this is only the 3rd week coming up tomorrow, but it's getting late for the Cowboys. I don't know at what point they'll just throw this season away, but it's getting late. That's all I have to say about that.
It's a very confusing thing for me as well, and I was hoping that you would be the voice of reason for me that would help clarify what the heck has been going on out in Frisco. But the receivers, you've talked to me about this earlier in the week, and indeed, they did just keep 2 running backs for the most part, and that they're going to try to count Tavon as a halfback or running back / wide receiver, and it doesn't make sense. That's not who he is, and that's not what he does. I'm going to still beat this dead horse, for lack of a better expression, about offensive play calling and how that needs to be changed, and that is something that this team desperately needs to do something about. So you have 7 wide receivers. Let's see some variety in the patterns that they run, and let's see more reverses and so forth to see if we can get more yards, more touchdowns, as opposed to this, we got one good play and then we stay stagnant the rest of the game until the 4th quarter. That's not how to win games, in my opinion.
Yeah, Tavon Austin is lighting ass, okay? He's 179 pounds. How many fullbacks do you know? This is crazy. Stop doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Sorry.
Agreed. No problem.
I said I was going to be calm today, but that's fine.
You're calm so far. I appreciate that. So I want to play a quick game of True False. I only have a couple of questions for you. I was really trying to figure out some decent ones to put up here. So let's start with this. True or false, Jameis Winston will play a game this season?
I'm going to go ahead and say false.
Oh.
I think Fitzmagic will kind of simmer down towards, a couple of games into the season. But I think he'll be efficient enough to continue to do what Tampa Bay needs. Tampa Bay has a really good defense. So it's not a whole lot, I don't think, that they can, that they really have to do. And Jameis Winston, I think his experiment is probably about up. I can see him even next year being a backup somewhere. Because who wants to keep putting up with Jameis Winston?
I mean, minus his college antics, in the pros, we've had the one incident with the Uber driver, and that's been about it for Jameis as far as I can recall. Otherwise, let me go back and answer the question. I say true that he does play a game this season. I think that the media is spending more time hearkening back to his days in college as opposed to what he's actually done in the NFL, and that the line has improved in the offseason, and they're calling better plays than they were. You had Deshaun Jackson on this team last year. They couldn't get him the ball. Now they're calling plays in which Deshaun Jackson is getting the ball and being the speedster he's supposed to be for this squad, to go along with Mike Evans, and I forget the big tight end, Howard, I believe is his name. But nevertheless, I think that Fitz will run out. No, I'm not calling him that. No. Fitz is going to be Fitz. He is eventually going to implode. It's going to happen, a couple of games down the road, maybe even the next game, but it's going to happen. And there's a reason that he is a journeyman quarterback. He has his moments, and then when he goes bad, he goes bad. So, Jameis will play this year, I feel.
I think Fitzpatrick is successful in Tampa Bay because he finally does have some decent weapons. And that's what I
Okay, we'll see. So, Le'Veon Bell will play more than 10 games this year. True or false?
False.
Really?
I mean, we're already at the third week, and he's not at practice.
Yeah.
So, unless there's something in his contract that says he needs to play at least 10 games, I don't see that.
I can see him waiting until the fourth week and then coming in and playing, just as a way to preserve his body a little bit. That cuts out officially 8 weeks from a what would be a 22, 23 week season, depending upon making the playoffs. So it's a little less wear and tear on his body, but I don't see him sitting out the entire season. He has nothing to gain. They're not going to give him a new contract, and he still has another year left. So even if he sat out this season, he still has another year in his contract. So he's not going to become a free agent at the end of this year. So it's kind of pointless. So at some point, yeah, he's going to come in and play. I'm giving him week 4, week 5.
Okay.
So, and this is based on a conversation you and I had, and the interwebs have been speaking this as well. Should Dak Prescott run the ball more? True or false?
True. And I know you don't. I know your reasoning for you not wanting him to run the ball, but I just think that this team is very unmotivated and unspirited. And so the leader of the team, quote unquote, needs to do more with the ball, to get a first down. He does not have his little security blanket, which is Jason Witten. He doesn't have that anymore. For some reason, the offensive line, they lost their center, so they don't feel that they can block for Zeke anymore. So someone has to take the initiative and fire up this team and sometimes get that first down on third down. I think he definitely needs to do a little more, barring injury, of course.
And there's why I say false, and thank you very much for bringing that up. The man's going to get injured. He doesn't slide. He is taking some shots, and he's going to start taking some real big shots as we play better defenses later on in the schedule. It won't take much to put him on the shelf, and then where's the team? We've already discussed how the backup situation looks for this team, and it's not good. So I would think that they would want to protect their commodity in their starting quarterback by strongly recommending not running the ball as much, but to use the option, and then maybe instead of why don't we use more why not use more play action? Since you're going to apparently use Zeke as a decoy as opposed to actually running him, how about play action? You got 7 wide receivers on this team. Make use of them.
Do teams normally use a first round pick, 4th overall for decoy?
The Giants do, so yeah, I think so. Oh, but they're not really winning like that, are they? I'm just saying. They're not. I'm just saying. So, all right. Let's move on to other teams that really don't matter to us, but just saying.
Hey, we're going to talk about other teams around here.
I'll say, okay, I'll be respectful. Thank you. I'm sorry. So, are Mike Tomlin and Pete Carroll losing their respective locker rooms?
I think they are, but what I'll say about the Steelers, they're going to keep on with their head coach. And, if maybe they lose a couple of games, They've been winning for a while. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe if they have an off year or two, it'll be fine. Because they're going to keep the management is going to keep their confidence in the coach, whether the teammates do or don't. You know what I'm saying? And I think he has in the aspect of there's been a lot of stuff coming out of the locker room in social media, and I don't think that's ever a good thing. If you're complaining about this or complaining about that, that needs to be in house and shouldn't be for the outside world to know or to have privy to.
I agree with you. I am less concerned about the situation in Pittsburgh and more interested in the situation in Seattle to see. This is especially a pivotal week with the Cowboys coming to Seattle, that the Seahawks, they desperately need a win, and they need to present themselves or at least try to stay within the race in the NFC West, with the 49ers and the Rams looking very good. The Cardinals not so much, but they need to keep pace. And I am curious, as you've pointed out to me during the offseason, that this is going to be a time in which we see exactly what management thinks of Pete Carroll. This is probably what should be considered somewhat of a semi-rebuilding year. And they are missing pieces still. They got rid of some defensive veterans. They still don't have a real running game. So this is, I think...
They do not have a running game at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At all. And so I'm
interested
to see how Pete Carroll handles this.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
They need a running back bad, and they need some linemen. But
basically, they need a whole new team.
They can figure all that out after this week.
Right. After this week is exactly. So, for this season, have there been any surprises for you in this new NFL season?
Yes. What I'm very intrigued by and surprised is the amount of rookies that are getting starting and really making an impact with teams. I am very excited about that. It's kind of like the NBA, where there's new bloods are coming in, and it's the change of the guard, so to speak. So it's really exciting to see that. I have to take my phone. I normally have my phone out anyway, but I'm sitting here looking like, who is this dude? This guy, and each and every time it's a rookie. So I'm very excited about that. We need that. Some new stuff going on around here.
Yeah, new blood is a wonderful thing, and I'm all for it as well. And it's nice to see people like Calvin Ridley and DJ Moore, people that we passed on in the draft, doing so well with their new prospective teams and making these wonderful catches. But in general, yeah, I agree with you. I like the new blood, and I like keeping an eye on the new guys coming into the league and making things very interesting. Mix it up. Let's get beyond just the same old, and let's convince some of these older guys to retire. I like the new guys. More of them.
More of the new guys.
More of the new guys. How this question: how excited should fans / an organization be about beating a team that was 3-13 last year? I can't even ask this with a straight face.
Well. Just leave it to me. It's like the reason why other people can't stand us or are very irritated about us is because we're like the Hispanic people, the house on the street. They all celebrate anything, and I love it. Hey, party all the time. But in football, no, it's not party all the time. And I used to say a win is a win, Jamal. But when it comes to this team, no, it's not. Okay? Because for some reason, these fans think because we got 5 sacks, we held them to so many points. That don't mean crap. You know what I'm saying? If next week we go to Seattle and we bomb, because we've been known to do that with that team. Okay, so we're not out of the woods. Everything ain't all good. Jared needs to quit clapping because it ain't all right. There's still things about this team that need to be addressed instead of everyone taking a blind eye to. So no, we should not get excited about that.
Coach K, I couldn't have said it any better. This is usually where you're calming me down for this and saying a win is a win. I echo everything that you say. I just want to add also that this is the way that you would do this sort of thing is you play lights out defense and then you have an offense that chews up the clock, keeps the defense off the field, wins the game, puts up, 20 some odd points. Your defense holds the other team to under 20 points and you win. So far, this team has done that. In both the games, they've held the teams to under 20 points. But for some reason, they didn't get the memo about scoring over 20 points. And that's kind of an issue when you have a team like Carolina who, only put up 16 for all of the effort and brouhaha about them. And you can't put up more points than that. And then 20 points against really and truly not so great Giants defense. It was good, but not great like it used to be. And it should have done, it should have been a much larger score. So I'm concerned. It felt like a loss to me just saying, but yeah, beating a 3-13 organization from last year that just got a brand new head coach. Yeah, no, this really felt like a loss. So
thank you. We finally agree on something.
Did we? Did we really?
Yeah, that just didn't want. That's it.
That didn't count. So let's talk about last week's games very quickly. KC at Pittsburgh. What are your thoughts on that game?
Well, after the game that Pittsburgh played the week previous, I was expecting them to do a lot more. I'm very impressed with the young quarterback Mahomes for Kansas City. But I'm not going to go too far with Kansas City because there is many times where, they won a lot of games, but in the playoffs they still weren't able to do crap.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna temper my excitement for them for a little bit. But I mean, usually the AFC games aren't that interesting to me, but lately, it's just I have to see, what's going to happen at the end of the game, how they're going to mess this up. So that's what it's been with me. What do you think about the game? Did you get a chance to watch?
I got to watch it from afar. I noticed that KC had rung up 42 points on Pittsburgh and then realized they were playing in Pittsburgh, which was really eye-opening for me. And that Pittsburgh actually made a game of it towards the end, just came up short. But they allowed 42 points at home. And it's not, no. You can't start off 0-1-1 and win your division. You just can't. That's not the way to do things. So Steelers, they need to get their act together quickly if they want to be competitive in this division. Although it is the AFC North, so maybe they will get away with this.
Right.
Do we need to talk about the Cowboys?
No, we don't have to talk about that.
Okay, yeah, we've talked pretty much about them. And let's go ahead and talk about the Vikings and the Packers.
Wow. Kicking. I mean, you already know going into this game, you're going to have a fight of your life. These teams are pretty much evenly matched, on defense, on offense, special teams. So, yeah, I wish they played again. Maybe they'll meet in the playoffs, but that was a really interesting game for both of them.
Well, as divisional rivals, this game was played in Lambeau Field, and this was a great opportunity to steal a win, and the Vikings completely missed out. There was a very questionable call during regulation that really and truly cost the Packers, that Clay Matthews made a hit on Cousins that was considered roughing and negated a possible interception, I believe. And that was really a sticking point after the game. But honestly, like you said, kicking. And to add insult to injury, our boy Dan Bailey looked up and said, "Oh wait, you all need a kicker? Yeah, I'll come there for a year." So Dan Bailey took a couple of $1 million year contract, and he's now the Vikings kicker as of, I believe, yesterday. So hopefully this will not happen again. Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the possibility of getting a Super Bowl ring with the Vikings can't be that bad of a thing.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and pick the winners for next week's games. We got New York, Cleveland. I think Cleveland will win their first game of the season on Sunday at 12 noon. That's when they start. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Cleveland.
I'm going with the Jets. I think that Cleveland just does not have the offense yet, and that the Jets actually have shown a little bit of life. And, I think that they walk into Cleveland and win.
All right, so we got the Saints and the Falcons. I'm going to go ahead and go with New Orleans. They got to get it together. You know, they've been looking kind of raggedy. So I think they're going to get a good start on Sunday and get their first win.
Just because I want to be contradictory in this particular pick, I'm going to go with Atlanta at home. I think that the Falcons got on the right track last week, and that realizing that there is Julio Jones to throw the ball to, and that even with the loss of Freeman, that they can, or is it Coleman? With the loss of their running back, their backup is good, so they should be good to go for this game. So the next one that we have is San Francisco and Kansas City.
All right. I'm going to say Kansas City, and I'm not going to even give no explanation.
Really? Huh. I'm going to go 49ers, even though it hurts to say that. I really like Garoppolo, and I think that KC just isn't the team everyone thinks they are.
Okay. How about Oakland and Miami?
I don't know.
The only reason I'm picking Miami is because Oakland has to fly across the country, and that's the only reason.
I still don't know how good Miami is, so I'm going to go with Oakland, saying that they finally get their first win of the season. So, all right, how about the Buffalo Bills at the Minnesota Vikings?
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. We're in agreement there.
I don't want Buffalo to win a game this season.
But you mad about the Tyrod Taylor thing as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. True. Okay. So, the Indianapolis Colts at the Philadelphia Eagles. I already know this one.
I'm going to go ahead and go with Philadelphia. They're not going to win. They're not going to lose 2 in a row.
No, they're not going to lose to the Colts either. I agree with you on that. So, the Green Bay Packers travel to Washington.
Washington still can't get right. I mean, what are you guys doing? You know, it's not even fun anymore. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick Green Bay. I'm going to go out on a limb.
I'm going to go out on a limb with you, and I hope the limb holds, because I too am picking Green Bay. So, the Bengals at Carolina.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be such a good game. I really, really hope that it's the game of the week. It be at 12 o'clock. Man, I don't know. I'm going to go against what probably will happen, and I'm going to pick the Bengals.
Funny thing, I was sitting here looking at this and thinking I like the Bengals as well, and I'm gonna go with the Bengals for the road win. I feel very ill about saying this. I cannot wait until how we discuss this next week. We should put a pin in that one.
Hopefully, how we were right and not how we were wrong.
Well, even if we were right, just explaining how and why we were right, that is just going to be very sickening if the Bengals actually win this. So, the Tennessee Titans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville.
Oh, this is another hard one. I don't want to watch it, but it's hard. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. I think that they're really playing great defense. But then so is Tennessee on both sides of the ball. So I'm just going to go with the home team and say Jacksonville.
Same here. I'm going to go home team as well. I think that without Mariota, or even a healthy Mariota, that they're not really a match for Jacksonville at this point. So let's move along to Denver versus the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore.
I'm going to go with Denver.
Yeesh. I'm going to actually go Baltimore in this one.
Okay, what about New York and Houston?
I don't know.
I don't think New York will lose 3 in a row, so that's the only reason why. But then again, Houston, oh my God, they can't quite get it together either. No. But I'll just still go with. Oh man, no, I'm going with Houston.
Thank you. I'm going with Houston too. And as much as I enjoy your distaste for anything Houston, I was going to do it somewhat out of spite. But since you're going to do it, I'll join you on this one. I think Houston's the winner. The Battle of Los Angeles, which I thought was not going to be a great matchup a couple of years ago, but now the Chargers versus the Rams.
Oh my God, the Rams will be victorious, but I think that it will be a close game. I don't think it'll be a runaway.
I think it'll be an entertaining matchup as well. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think this just because I have a good feeling about them on this one. So the Bears against the Cardinals in Arizona.
Well, after I don't know how good Chicago actually is. But I see how bad the Cardinals are, so I'm going to go with Chicago.
Same. Bears. The Bears. And I don't know how they managed to get this matchup, but the Cowboys at Seattle.
I pick Seattle.
I'm taking the Cowboys. The Patriots. I'm sorry. The Patriots at Detroit.
I'm going to pick the Patriots.
I think that's a wise pick. I too am going to pick the Patriots and look forward to an early night on Sunday night. And the Monday night matchup is Pittsburgh at Tampa Bay.
First of all, I want to thank the scheduling committee for actually putting entertaining games on Monday nights.
True.
Way to go.
True.
So I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh.
I too am going to go with Pittsburgh. I think that Fitz runs out of his magic, and on the biggest stage of the regular season, Monday Night Football, and gets exposed for who he is. So, very quickly, let me run through last week's NCAA games. Just quick comments from you on LSU Auburn.
Kicking. I think that's the theme so far this year is the lack of kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn was really set up to win this game, but kicking. So there we go.
I am surprised that LSU is this good this early. I'm going to be very interested to see how they do throughout the rest of the season, but they may be the competition for Bama this season. Texas USC.
Wonderful. It was a wonderful game. That's one of those games that we should have went to and actually just bask in the victory. It was a really good game. So I'm happy.
Okay, I'm not happy, and I think that despite what the final score says, that the defense played very well. The offense was mediocre at best. I think that USC is probably a worse team than everyone thinks that they are, and that Texas again showed that they played down to the level of their competition. So, TCU and Ohio State.
Oh, TCU gave up the ghost. You know, after that turnover, I think it was in the third quarter. It's like it took the wind out of them, and they were never able to regroup. I don't think that they were going to win either way, but at least I was expecting for it to go down to the wire, and it did not.
I agree. I really was kind of disappointed and thought that they would go to the wire as well. I thought that they'd give a much better showing against Ohio State at what is essentially a home game. And hey, we'll see what happens throughout the rest of the conference play, which we will get to in just a moment. This coming week, there are only a couple of matchups we really wanted to highlight. The first one being Alabama at Texas A&M.
I mean, I mean, they got to go out there and play. So hopefully, we'll try to give them their best shot. But I think Alabama will ultimately win.
I think if you really twisted my arm, I could say that Alabama was going to win, but it's really going to take some serious arm twisting to make that happen. So let's leave that alone. And Texas versus TCU.
Oh my God. So I just hope that the offense learned something from the last couple of weeks and apply it to this game because they're going to need it.
TCU has owned Texas since it's come back into the same conference as them, with Texas only having one win in the 6 meetings that they've had. So I love my Longhorns very much. That said, TCU right now is the big bad daddy. I'm sorry, I can't. I don't see it going any other way with the way that Texas offense plays. So the Frogs will probably win this one, sadly.
Cool.
So let's move along. There were the Emmy Awards Monday night, and from my vantage point, they produced a shutout for Atlanta, one of my favorite shows, and produced big wins for the Mrs. Maisel series, Game of Thrones, and the Gothic Horror Story. Do you have any thoughts on the winners and losers for the night?
No.
I would say that I'm a little disappointed, only from the standpoint of I kind of really hoped that Atlanta would really get the recognition this year that it deserves. I do know it won Emmys last year, but I thought it would continue along.
It was better written last year. I didn't like this season.
Okay. All right. I kind of liked them equally, honestly. That's a whole nother show, I guess. But I think that I'm looking forward to seeing what else they come up with. Also, Sandra Oh lost. I thought that she was really in line to be Best Supporting Actress in a drama series. Just in general, I thought that there was going to be some more people who won that I expected, and they didn't. But I'm happy for the other series. I'm just surprised that the Mrs. Maisel won for Best Comedy, and I tried getting through a couple of episodes. It's just, the humor is not there for me, so maybe I'm just not the target audience. So, speaking of which, just wanted to ask you in general, what happened to the well-written black sketch comedies on TV? Like, remember 227, Girlfriends, and Living Single, etc.?
You know, I guess what the question should probably be is why has Hollywood stopped ordering these type of shows? Because they definitely can't be written because we're watching them on Netflix, on Hulu, on various other things. So I don't know why all of a sudden are they not requested? That's a bigger question, I think.
That's a good question. And with the success of Blackish, and I didn't mean to overlook it in my list, and I'm not overlooking Insecure, but in general, I'm just talking about a sketch comedy, so I didn't count Insecure. I'm not sure why. And it's one of the reasons I asked the question of you was hopefully you could enlighten me, but Black Panther, all of this success that came about, the massive amount of dollars that poured in, ratings come from shows with diversity in general, and yet you still have these rehashes of comedies on network TV. And I hate to quote a certain Orange Man, but not so much winning. They're just not winning. So
thing happened, and I think it's reality TV, or now it's reality scripted drama. I think that's what happened. People they want to see, or they feel that the audience wants to see certain things, and really in actuality we don't. I would love to say that there are 2 or 3 of these type of shows on TV, or it don't even have to be black. Can we just get sitcoms to come back? Let's make that popular again. How about I get a T-shirt with that made? I don't mind it. I love me saying Taylor and some whatever. All that's good stuff. It's funny. So,
well, just bring back funny sitcoms, relatable sitcoms. Just let's make it a little more interesting, shall we? It makes everybody's TV watching better, for better water cooler talk the next day. So, is Tiffany Haddish funny?
No.
Really?
But
okay.
What I will say about her is, to me, she's real. She seems authentic. You know what I'm saying? She seems like, my little cousin or somebody I'm kin to, that, is not quite right. But, I enjoy her, but if I'm looking for comedy, it's not her, but she is in the right place for all the blessings, you know what I'm saying, that she's receiving, and I ain't mad at it. Get your money, girl.
It's interesting to me. I don't know if this question is related to it, but I was caught off guard by the comments of Cat Williams, and that even...
How are you caught off guard?
For someone to say that she doesn't know how to tell a joke or to know how to do jokes is really kind of interesting to me, if you know her backstory, that you know that she's come up slowly but surely. She's done time doing comedy and doing stand-up and having specials. So for him to act like she's brand new from the girls' trip... Yes.
Did you hear the question? Because I didn't hear the question, and that's why I refuse to condemn him for those remarks. Because Jamal, if you ask me a question, and what that question is, you gonna get it all. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I have no problem with him saying it. I don't agree with what he said. So from his vantage point, he sees it one way. From someone who has kind of kept an eye on her, his comments to me didn't mesh with what I had seen from her career. And I find her to be funny. Yeah, she's real, just like you said, but if I do want somebody funny, if I want to make sure there's going to be some sort of a laugh, she's the person I'm going to get over Cat Williams.
No, if I want my sides to hurt, and I want to love her and just laugh, it's not going to be her. And it's not even, I don't even know a woman that can make me laugh in that way. So I don't know who that would be. Unless it's some more Adele. I mean, but, they've been in the game. I think they have a resume. I didn't learn about Tiffany Haddish until she told the story about how her and Will and Jada were in the Prius together. So I mean, I don't know anything about her. I think what it is kind of the old man with the kids get off my yard type of thing. If she didn't suffer, she didn't, do mediocre, or she didn't have her time, then of course it could be that way. But I just think that it would only be fair for us to hear the question instead of just his response. And that's not fair.
Okay, I'll let. Okay, that's cool. All right, and So, movies and TV shows. What fall show return are you looking forward to or waiting on?
How to Get Away with Murder. I'm ready for that.
You're going to go there, aren't you?
Yes. Are you caught up with the show?
No, I'm not caught up on the show. I'm so far behind, and I've been waiting to get my eyes on the Mayans, and I've not had a chance to watch that yet.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah,
judge
I'm
me.
not surprised.
Don't
I'm
judge
not judging. I'm not surprised.
Totally judging.
I'm still waiting on you to watch the last season of The Shield. So
Wow. You just right here, right now, really? Okay.
never gonna forget it.
Okay.
Never.
Okay. Thanks. So, how are your workouts coming?
Well, my trainer counseled on me. So I think the responsible thing would have been for me to just go in and go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I walked by there,
Okay.
but I didn't visit. So yeah, I'm working on it. Y'all pray for me.
One day. Completely understood.
Yeah, it'll all come together.
Exactly.
And I'll have to stop waiting on my trainer to go with me to go train.
That's right. You don't need the trainer anyway.
I do. Yeah.
Yes.
I do.
Own the gym. Own it. All right, Kay. That's all we got for this week. We will catch you all next week. Thank you very much for your time, and also make sure that you follow us on Facebook. We're also on Twitter at, I believe it's iTalkBack Sports. And also feel free to message us on Facebook. Okay? Thank you very much. Good night.